Well, hello and welcome to Stitches and Coffee with Jurgita. And today I'm drinking from this mug from Creekwood Inn in Michigan City, Indiana. That's where we spent the night after our wedding, and that was 25 years ago. And um, maybe 10 days or so, or 2 weeks later on. So we got the mug to remember that. So I'm drinking that. So let me put this away so I accidentally don't spill on my work. So today is November 1st, and in Lithuania today is All Saints Day and tomorrow is All Souls Day. And that's like a national holidays where pretty much majority of the country traveling to the cemeteries to light a candle for all family members that passed away or friends. So it's beautiful scene at night to see, of course, but the parking is horrible to find about the cemeteries because they're not meant to have so many cars at one time. So you might have to like a stagger days to go in there. So that's what my parents gonna be doing. They're visiting one side of the family, and then on the way to another side, they'll lit up the candles in different cemeteries, but it glows like at night every cemetery, and the flowers put on and the grave sites are cleaned up, because usually you don't have like in America where you have a lawn and little tombstones. They have barricaded sometimes grave sites, so it's maneuvering around some of those places that are hard to get to, but it's a very old tradition, I think, from ancient, like a pagan times, to go to cemeteries. So that's a little bit like a history tidbit for you. I don't think I've ever mentioned that before. So anyway, happy Saints Day today, and like usually, I start my month with my spoiled child by Astra pattern. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm gonna have a lot of different style and size projects, different type of needlework done on my videos, and hope you'll enjoy watching them. If you're returning, and especially if subscriber, thank you again for coming by to see me, and I hope you're gonna see your favorite projects here to be done. Of course, there's always something new that I add. I don't finish that much quickly because, like you see, the sizes, some of them are very big. So my light is pretty bright right now, so it's a little bit darker than what you see in through the camera in here. And I'm working on this monthly. Beginning of the month, I had a certain amount planned to make like a two like a columns, 2 rows, a specific size, and I'm about to finish. So a little bit left to the end of the year, so it's not going to be very hard to do 1 month right now. Usually it's like over 3,700 stitches, but this time is much less because I went a little bit ahead previous months throughout the year. And let's see, what I'm gonna be stitching here is gonna be some light color. So you see, finish her sleeve, and then for month of December is going to be all dark, and a little bit of the skirt catching up, but going to be mostly dark colors. And this is stitching a full cross on the 18 count Ada with DMC threads. So let's see how I can do it, and then I'll come back with you with about half of that done. And it did not take too long to finish the area, so I did 21 stitches in that, and just under 2,000 is left in this area. So I know I'll be able to finish in December, unless I can't stitch at all. So it was kind of hard to stop and decide to quit after stitching this area. So as you can see, her sleeve is all done and stitched, and part of the stuff that's in the back, I don't know what it is all finished, and this is what it looks like right now. So a lot of the dark stuff is going to be continuing in here like this, and love it how it's turning out. Good start of November, and for you it's showing a little bit brighter, plus I have all kinds of lights blaring at that, so it's a little bit darker where it's supposed to be darker. So I'm sure after I wash it also that it's hopefully gonna fabric shrink, so all those fabric parts that you see throughout, especially dark parts, that are not gonna be seen that well. So this is my November's spoiled child, and I think if I calculate correctly, it's 150th day that I worked on that as a whole thing, and right now I have 57.6% done. So just slowly creeping past the second part. So that's all I have for now, and we'll see them in next month. And the next one, I think I'm gonna take this with me. I have to go to the Y, take my daughter for her practice, and I have a headache, so I'm not gonna do running, walking. So I think I'm gonna take this wine gnome or thirsty gnome and work on that, because I have not a lot done, like 15-16% only out of the whole thing, and I know it did not start long ago, but it would be great if I could finish before New Year. So that's gonna be my concentration, and that's what I'm gonna be taking as my like a purse pocket, a little piece to take with me. So there's all kinds of different colors happening in here, like you can see a little bit in the picture in there. So this is what's supposed to look like, by the way, and I'm stitching this on a wooden like a platform base, and it's just see, bad side is darker, and the only problem I have, because I stitch fairly tight, I have a trouble putting my needle in the back to finish off the thread, but I didn't want anything to be sticking out, so it's nice and flat, and I know all the stitches usually look very good on this kind of plastic and wooden base, because you don't pull on the fabric threads, so it always becomes very nice and smooth stitches. But anyway, I'm gonna grab some threads that needed for this, and pack this up, and I don't know if I'm gonna show you right away, but I'll be stitching on this a little bit more, and then once I get a good chunk, I'll show it to you. So the next, I've decided to pull out my Baltic Sea Mandala or Ostsee by Chatelaine, and this is all I've ever stitched. So it's 14.35%. And I have it on my Omanic long frame, and I have those pillowcases covering, so it's only open area that I'm gonna be stitching on, so kind of like a closing curtain to protect the fabric from accidentally touching something or collecting more dust as much as possible. And there's still a lot left, and I decided to pull out now because I did not get enough stitches what I've planned to do throughout the year, so I'm trying to sort of at least to catch up and get as close as possible. And this is the area that I'll be working on, concentrating. So that involves silk threads, probably Krynic. I don't know if there's any specialty stitches yet in this area that I'll be working on. I've sort of started a little bit in here. You can see Krynic a bit sparkling here, but so far in here there's no Krynic. I love how the building is popping out with like a mossy kind of look in here, and I'm just stitching as is, like my crosses all going the same way. be there on the top or on the sides. So after all, this is going to be square piece, and you can turn that any way you want, but all my stitches going to be laying same way in every part. And yeah, so I need to again wash my hands, make sure before I touch fabric, and especially with this working with the silk threads, that's where I'm gonna be working. And I'm hoping to spend a couple of days on this, and then I'll come back to you to show my result. And after working 3 days, this is what I've got. So not much improvement anywhere else, just mainly been working on this building. So practically it's all done. There's a couple of like half stitches, and I think something in here should be, but there's supposed to be spaces in those parts. Also, it kind of I don't know why, but this is how it is. And there's like one more color left to bounce in here. So these are mainly like silk threads, and here majority or practically all are done with the DMC cotton threads. And then as you can see, the like a windows, cathedral windows looking was stitched with those half stitches, and same in here. So seems like all the lights are out in this building with the turrets and things like that. And then we started to go up in here. So there's like a little sailboat is gonna be here with some like a base in here, and we can see practically majority of the lighthouse already built and sitting, and there's gonna be some petite crosses done, like a bird or something like this in here. But this is what over 2,000 stitches gave me in those 3 days. So majority, like I said, I worked in this area because I wanted to finish up, because there's a whole another section in here gonna be waiting, that's gonna take a lot of stitches too. So far I've been working only on full excess. There was I turned off an option on my Saga version where I don't need to see all the specialty stitches or blends or beads. So mainly is concentration on crosses. So I think I'm gonna pull her out again next month. It's so fun to stitch on this, and once all the sparkle is gonna kick in and stuff, it's gonna be so much nicer. I think that all those empty areas are waiting for those specialty stitches. So let's say bye for now in November, and we'll pull something out while this is resting for a bit. And a new month, new section in my Alien and Rowan or Beloved, and I'm stitching this on the 16 count antique white Ada with CXC threads or SHS threads. So there are not regular cotton threads, but I think it's turning out okay. And this is what I need to finish by the end of the year. And so this month in November I need to do at least a half or a tiny bit over, because I want to leave some for the month of December so I can finish the row nicely. Then I'll roll it for last time, hide the girl's face. And let me show you what it should look like when it's all done. And here I can show you what it should look like. So right now in this area, so I'm gonna do her like a mouth, maybe even finish the nose. So it's gonna be a lot of light colors, and this is the section that I have to work on. So hopefully it's not gonna take too long, and especially since there's not many colors in this. It's only 21 symbols, 9 pure and 12 blends, and I started this in 2021, and hopefully sometime in 2024 I'll fully finish, because as you can see there's gonna be this section left to do, so not too long. And I'm just enjoying. I'm trying not to rush too much, but I'm also wanna see this whole thing so I can stare at it fully, because the guy's face is already hidden and it's only girl left, and that is also gonna be hidden once I finish the row. So I'll enjoy while I can, and I'll show you once I've done this section. And this is how it looks after 2 days stitching. So I think I missed working on this whip so much in that month that I whipped in 2 days 2385 cross stitches. And this what you've got to see in here. So ring started showing up on her finger, and at first when I was stitching this area, the one of the threads was like looking exactly like a little ear, and I had to look it up actually on a mock-up to see what it's gonna look like, because I couldn't remember. So it was just a hand and how the light bounces off, and then it's gonna be finishing up some of the fingers, and his coat or feather one is gonna be there. So it was very hard to actually stop. I left about 1500 stitches in here for the month of December. Like I said, I'm playing one of those liquidation games where I have to stitch a minimum 1,000 or two, depends how much I put myself for each month. So I didn't want to start a new row, but I love how it's turning out, and she's just clinging to him in here, and her lips, the nose, how the shadows are falling in there, and we see something more of his arm cover coming out in there, and something is peeking in here. So maybe it's gonna be his wrist area, but this is where I'm gonna leave for December, and I can't wait to actually finish this and unroll his face. So I don't think you guys gonna wait much more in December. I'm gonna try to go earliest part of the month to work on this one. So I will have to say bye to this couple and set this aside to rest for a bit more. And the next thing I think I'm gonna grab is this Raindrops on the Lashes by Chimera. And again, there's kind of grayish tones, a little bit greenish, a little bit sort of like a pink on the face, but I'm stitching that again on something different, and it's 25 count easy grid white gray Lugana, and I'm doing that in half stitches. I've never worked with this kind of fabric. The pattern is 350 by 350, and it's about 60 total different symbols. So that's some 53 pure colors and 7 blends. I started in just over 2 years ago, and I have just over 6% done. And another new thing I'm doing this is, since I'm stitching as a half stitch, I'm doing that opposite what I used to do when I do half stitches. So my stitches are like a top leg of a cross going this way, and I have to kind of train my brain for that, because as you see, like raindrops falling this way. So I thought it would work well with my stitching as a half, so you can see it's all falling. And let's see, so it's gonna go up to 350, which is like right here. So that's all it's left to do to finish the row. And also I think because of the framing, I don't want to cover up even more of this area, because you know you don't want to see any what you call it, like any white lines when you frame it. So I think I'm gonna add a couple more like a rows of stitches, and I'll have to catch up this on this work. So you see where the top is. So I'm gonna stitch a little bit of similar colors in here. So once I stitch like on the bottom here, I'm gonna add in there so it's not way too weird. So I'm gonna work, and hopefully for a couple of days, and I'll catch up with you later. And I finally was able to get in sync with this project, and it started to just go pretty fast compared to what the way I was stitching before. So you see I got a good chunk done, kind of filled in all the spots that needed in here, and I've started to fill in like from area where it was the top stitch. I was adding 2 more stitches up of that color. So like I said, I think before, during the framing, it will be okay to cover this up, so I don't think it changes anything. It's mostly like a background in here, so it would give me more breathing space between like a top of the jacket in here. So the end is very near. It's about less than 2000, well, not 2000 because I'm going just 3 with the like about half done. So 4 blocks over, kind of, that's gonna be my end of this whip, at least the row. So let's see, this is where how it's looking like side by side from where it is, and I think it's pretty accurate. Of course, the light that shines through on the fabric, hopefully this fabric shrinks up like most of it, and not gonna see that much, plus the camera and bright light really pops it out, but when you pull it out, it's gonna look much better in the look. And it's really looking exactly like the picture itself. It's almost like the same size printed. So, and just of course not fully, because you can see the length of the piece. So this is where I'm gonna stop. I think I might grab this again in December, just to finish off the row. So that would be a nice nice way to end the year, right? So, and once I start getting these areas, then I'll fill in those extra 2 stitches up and the sides. Once I find that color like in here that I can add and fill it in for the like I said, for the framing. So this is what my raindrops and lashes look like. And next, I decided to grab this Asian Couple by Lenarte project, because I haven't stitched that in several months. I don't know, since I think July was the last time I grabbed it, possibly. So I thought it needs at least one more time, especially if I wanna reach my goals of stitches for this piece. And right now I have only just over 19% done. So let's see the whole piece. I'm stitching on the fabric provided in the kit, which is 27 count, and it stitches so wonderfully, like the whole fabric. It's printed on one side and practically white on the other side. And like I said, X's go so fast, so well, and it's stitched with 2 threads, with 1 thread full X, and there's some blends, and just goes like a knife on the sharp knife on the butter. And I might go at least 800, like I said, to get some stitching done, and probably I'm gonna continue work on her headpiece in here to decorate. We'll see how that goes, because I don't park threads, so I was using when I can and then picking at a spot and using. So I'm not marking this pattern too, and that's one of the few things that I don't try not to mark, and that's going to be here. So there's a few spots in the pattern when there's no stitching done and you can't tell much. In here there's gonna be, and like a little bit in this corner, at least so far. So I think the rest of that might be filled in. We'll see how that goes, but it's those kind of fall colors, the outfits, the background, but it's still very beautiful. And I might wait on her skin color later on. We'll see when I do, but I'll see you with some of this project already filled in, and we'll talk then. This is what it looks like right now after several days of stitching, and 2 days practically no stitching at all. So all of this is done except those couple of hair spots that are missing a few stitches, but her part in there is done, and you can see it's already pushing down a little bit more with those colors, and this is what it looks like. I got just over 1,300 stitches in there, and I'm happy to say that right now it's 21% done of the whole thing. So that's what you see. So I'm gonna put them aside, and we'll pull out next time, hopefully, to continue stitching down. So I have 2 letters left on my Brooks Book Stitches alphabet, and it will be Y is for yarn, and the last one is going to be in this area. It's letter Z, so that's going to be a little bit more work than a Y, and I was planning to do this time only once a month, but we'll see how fast I can do it. Y, and maybe I'll do also Z. This way I can finish this piece earlier. Like I said, depends on my time, because December probably not going to be a lot of stitching. I'm gonna try to put some more effort into FFOing some things, especially small ones like ornaments. So we'll see how that goes, and in order to do that, I'll have to have this done before Christmas. So we'll see. And like you see, I use in this piece some crying. There's gonna be some back stitching, there's gonna be some beading, and with the Y is gonna be for yarn, of course. There's gonna be some more couching involved. So this is where I'm starting, and I'll meet you after at least one letter is done. And as you can see, I couldn't stand still, so to speak, or sit still. And I actually did not only letter Y, but a Z. So let's look a little bit closer. So letter Y, as you can see, it was not a lot of stitches involved, just a little bit back stitching, and the yarn strings, I actually used the invisible thread to attach it, so I did a couching in here. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit like a lines, but it was also stretched out, so it will stretch out again. And those are several strings, so I kind of had to also look at the picture of sample to figure out some of the lines, because I was looking at a colored pattern. Actually, if you look at the one below, that is all in black and white, so the different back stitching was marked differently. So that's what then I was following, because on a colored pattern you couldn't tell which color thread needs to go which line. So if you're gonna do this, check out the black and white pattern, and each like a long line is marked in a different style. So that's if you want to follow exactly as it is in the pattern. So the 2 eyes were, of course, like a little beady eyes, so it shines to you as a cat's eyes. And that was it with the Y. Z was the most one of the most stitches that I've done, and that was over what, over 1100 in there. And there was, I think, the most colors that I've used. There's lots of them, as you can see. Each V is a different color, and just go little by little. But what I wanted to show you also, there was one color, it was 153, very light violet, and I had 2 different color like a spoon threads, so you probably can tell already. And they're both not one of those old ones, you know, because there's that typical marking in here for a label, but how different the threads are, you can tell probably, right? This is like more in the pink color, this is more in the violet. And when I looked, because I have my all DMC color thread palettes of original and like a card, actually that's what it was. So I've decided to use this one as a wrong color to kind of fill in the spots, because I need to use it up on something, and I'd rather use a little bit in each place when it's not going to be as much marked. So very, very different colors, and that's how I was comparing it. And you can tell, really tell different colors. So that's what I've used. I saw as a difference in here. And again, Kreinik, this is number 8. I did the couching with invisible thread, and again it got a little bit looser, so I just connected in the corners with actually twice, just to make sure that it's secured enough. And again, it's gonna stretch out a little bit more once it's on the frame, and that's should be okay, because to do like a back stitch, like a half, I would go this way, get in, then come back from here, and again get in and coming back same way. But I think it's fine. And then I decided, since I finished the whole thing, I'm gonna put in my full name, first name at least, instead of just initials, because it's such a big piece. And at first I thought putting 2018 here and 2023, because that was a starting and ending point, but then decided just leave it like that, and measured up in the middle, and kind of counted from to the left how much it is, and that's that. So I'm gonna show you the whole thing after I iron it. I just took it off the frame, so that was fun to see it all unrolled. I haven't seen the whole piece in a long time, so that was kind of neat to see. And like I said, I'll do a little bit more cleaning up, and then I'll show you the whole thing. So after working for about 3 days on this part, and total would be 8, and here's what we have. So as you can see, I've worked about 4 what's it, not the rows but columns in here. So it's almost 1800 stitches that I've done, but also I did not count the extra 2 rows that I started doing in here. So when I see thread that was in this area, and that was also stitched somewhere in this area, so I started adding it. So as you can see, there's 2 threads gonna add to the side and 2 threads on the top. So I'll have to, when I stitch again with the light color, add a little bit more in here, all the lighter colors. But as you see, we get this beautiful, like a turquoise, my favorite colors in here, sea and colors. So if you see at the picture, and those red dots is where I parked all my threads. So about the 4 more columns, and we're gonna hit the middle of the width in here, and all those beautiful colors more gonna pop out in those feathers on here. And I've decided to just mark various centers of the intersection in there, so just to make sure, because I see horizontal lines way better than vertical, where it's marked with the yellow Lucas fabric marked with the 2 threads. So it's easier to see this way than that, and I just want to make sure I don't just count constantly. So this marker I'm trying out is the water soluble marker, not the heat one like I had before. So I'm trying out all kinds of different new things, but this is what it looks like. And somehow it took me a while, that it was a lot of different threads, a lot of singles, and by the time I reached to like only 18 stitches of the same color, it took me a very long time to do in that area. So Lilith, if I do again about the same amount in December, I would reach my wish for this year, but I might not pick her up until next year. So we'll see about that. Although I've started this to celebrate my birthday in December, so I might pull out for a day on my birthday, because that's where my start was last year. So we'll see how that goes. And like I said, somehow it was taking so long, plus I did not have a lot of stitching to do, time to do, and my daughter is in all kinds of different clubs, girl club, that empowers girls to be like a leaders and be more confident of themselves for the future. And they do all kinds of things there. Plus, she's in AJHS, or National Junior Honor Society. Her eldest brother was in it, and they do also a lot of different projects and fundraising and support to do blood drives, and in the summertime pack up school lunches to be taken, collaboration with the local church. So this time she's been working, and I'm helping out also at like home basketball games. Mostly, I think it was only boys. That if a team plays in our middle school, then Honor Society kids, volunteers sign up to work like a ticket booth or concession stand. And she loves working that concession stand. But the first time we went I was helping out, and we were selling entry tickets. And I'll insert a couple of pictures. You're probably seeing it, my view there. So next time she worked by herself, she had a girl club and then all those games. So she left for bus about 7:20, and I picked her up at 8 o'clock p.m. So it's over 12 hours she spent in the school. And luckily, she was not, her like legs were hurting, and we did not go to volleyball practice. Otherwise, that would have been from 8 to 9 volleyball practice. By the time we got home, it would have been a half hour even later. So yeah, it's all kinds of things happening, and Thanksgiving is coming up. My all my guys from my family went on a hunting cabin to spend like male bonding time with my husband's brother-in-law and his son in there. So they're having lots of fun, and we're gonna meet up at my sister-in-law's right before Thanksgiving, because they're going more north than she lives, and we'll be coming with my daughter and dog from south. So prepping for that trip and cleaning up to leave a house nice and clean, and putting up the wish list that we usually exchange and put together right before the Thanksgiving or Black Friday, even though we don't go out on a Black Friday at all. We don't want to get black eyes, and it's just not worth our all those people pushing each other kind of thing just to save a few dollars. So lots of things happening, and I'm gonna show you one of the other things I've been doing also after I finished this one. And let's see. I got kind of in the finishing zone. I wanted to do more finishes, and picked up this wine gnome that I've been working a tiny bit occasionally throughout this month. And this time I just decided just to sit with it for a couple days, and just finished all of the main stitching, all X's, and I got my thread black one to do all of the outlines. So this is what it looks like, supposed to look like, and this is what I got. I like, I'm filming with the non-natural daylight, so with the lamps, and as you can see, there's a lot of nice kind of changes of color, that it's not like a sharp color changing, but slight. And the same with the purple. In the red you can see a little bit, but not much of the changes. But in Gnome's beard, in here, and the drinks, there's just a gentle changes of the colors. So it's hard to tell that there's so many colors, but that's what good outcome comes out. And everything will be outlined. Everything on the outside will be outlined. Inside will be done, and of course the writing in here. So there's lots of back stitching left to do. And of course, then at the end, I'm gonna trim all those things that are sticking out right now, that I was finishing off in the back. And I can show you the back. Like always, I just complained how hard it was for me to stick the needle underneath. Actually, I even broke the needle because the stitches are not super loose in here to stick it under, so you kind of try to hook some up and gently kind of push with the nails and then you have to kind of with another needle I was gently lifting up so it doesn't catch even more to pull out the needle. So that was my, you can say, headache to stitch on a wooden base like this, although the stitches I think turn out very nicely, very flat, of course, because in the fabric you can pull a little bit on the fabric and some fabric threads might be uneven, but here everything is exact and the outcome is great, but it requires a little bit poking and prodding probably with the nails under with it and with the needle on your skin. So this is what it looks like right now. I wanted to show you before I do all the outlining. Like you can see what's gonna be here, and there's a couple of stitches I've done with the back stitching, so it really covers it up. Like you can see on this side, you kind of those excess empty spots are filled up. It did not say exactly that I need to use one thread of 310 to outline, but I think that's would be plenty enough. Two might be way too much, especially because it's as you can see 16 count base that I got. So I'm gonna continue work on that to finish off, and then we'll see what else I can accomplish before I leave, which is in 2 days. Still we'll have to pack everything and all other things. So I'm gonna leave with this, and we'll meet in a second with the outcome. And I finished this little guy. So with all the back stitching, by my calculations, total was 3,190 stitches, and this is what I've got. So as you can see, everything outlined exactly how it was. There was no like a cross stitching on a back stitch, like go from here to here, for example, but it just followed. So all the little holes are covered up, and Vino is written in here. There's like a bunch of grapes and marked in there, and corkscrew shown in here, and of course, you know, the beard. And I actually decided to put in my name initials and the year in here. It's a little bit lighter what you see, and through the camera lens somehow it's making it darker, but I wanted to put something in there instead of a backside. I have not put the backside or trimmed all those extra threads in here to fully like FFO. I'll do that not not much later, but we were going to my sister-in-law's for Thanksgiving to meet with all the guys that were in the hunting cabin even further up, so it was kind of halfway point, and that's where we celebrated our Thanksgiving. So I took my daughter and a dog, and I've decided to take my nutcracker ornament if I'll get the stitch, and I did just a little bit, but then I've decided to try and start something that's I planned for next year, but I figured I might as well to try and bring it up. If I'll be able to do it this year, then yes. If not, then it's okay. And it's Mr. and Mrs. Delicious, like it says on the separate pillows, by Linda Stitches. I got it from Needlework Gallery, I think probably maybe last year or year before, and I thought if I start then it's fine. I did not have a fabric. It's called for feldspar fabric for this pattern, and I didn't have this, but I was hoping to get to the sort of local needlework store by my sister-in-law called Black Cat Stitchery. I think, is it like on the edge of Illinois or Wisconsin, so one of those states, and for that reason I drove us all Tuesday late afternoon, got in town late on Tuesday so I could go there Wednesday morning, because she was planning to have it open like for a few hours, and as I went, and I'll show you also what kind of things I bought. Quite a bit, but only I think one pattern, but the rest of it was all the things that I wanted to get from my long list that I had printed before. And one of the fabrics that she didn't have a feldspar, but I got by Mystic Fabrics. It's called Brain Fog, 32 count linen, and that's not a size. Got a fat quarter, so it was very similar. It was just no golden colors in here, just kind of bluish, as it says, Brain Fog. And this is how much I was able to stitch in a couple days, a tiny bit. Majority of the colors are used were what was suggested originally, but I changed few. Some of the threads I bought at the store besides the fabric for this pattern, but some of the threads I had from Gas, for example, I changed in the Weeks Dye Works. And there's only one DMC thread, is that bright yellow that you see like going in different spots, and that's I kept also as original instead of it going or something over dyed. But this is all I've stitched, and you can see slightly how the color variegates in this border, and just continue slowly go from like that corner and over. So I got the fat quarter, figured out 2 pillows plus more fabric will be left for something. So I'll be including a few pictures that I took from a store, and let's see what else I bought in there. So let's look quickly what I've got. Some of them were like for regular cross stitching, like Just Nan or hands-on design 12 days of Christmas that I'm gonna do, but some are gonna be for like a specialty stitches on canvas. And I've never played with this super suede. It's very suede sort of thread that you can see. The focus is not really going in, but something like this, it's a half rayon, quarter cotton and quarter poly in here, so that's going to be something interesting to work with. And another thing I haven't played with this Bravo thread. They're both gonna be for something that I saw in Needlework magazine. It's like a white and gold sampler, so there's more specialty threads needed for that piece, and we'll see how that works. But they're all white colors, and this interesting that works as a number 12 pearl cotton, so that's also going to be interesting to work with. Then there's some Vera Soie silk threads that I found, and of course some Krynic. So these are new spools. I know store owners don't like them because in the storage compartments that I had, these don't fit as well as these older ones, which I needed a couple of them. And so I'm slowly been filling up my list for some projects for next year and years after that. There's another one, and there's of course like all kinds of Weeks Dye Works and Gas threads in here, as you can see that I've got, and some for a specific project. Then one of the patterns I decided to grab is this Thanksgiving sampler by Victorian Sampler, and I thought, well, since it's Thanksgiving, I should grab something associated with that. I like the wording of this sampler, and like always, Victorian Sampler has something not only like a specialty stitches, but there's like a hardanger or pull threads in here, specialty stitches, and colorful. Too bad that it did not have the all accessory packs that needed. I'm really interested in some of the other works too, like this autumn box. I've seen that work done, and some of those bands. So I'm gonna be looking into it more, and of course, if I can't find the full accessory pack somewhere, I'll just have to collect it myself. And this was 2018 copyrighted piece, so that's something should keep me busy. And I probably will start this again sometime around one of those Thanksgivings, so it would have a full season start again. So that's only a pattern that I bought. And then it started all kinds of fabrics. Like I was happy that she had this piece of fabric paper to attach to, so which project I was quickly writing haphazardly. So I'm gonna be working on a Halloween at Hawthorne Hollow. I'm gonna be doing all those parts separately, so it's gonna need a little bit more fabric. So I got some of that, and then like 36 antique white linen, 36 R&R for a couple of things. So I got fat half, so it's a big one, for 2 samplers kind of piece. I have for a Prairie Moon fat quarter of vintage Stormy Night, and as you can see, it's printed on one side and plain on another. Then I've got this smoky pearl fabric, 28 count, also for some projects. So this whole collection of fabric plus this, all those threads, and this Krynic specialty threads, and this pattern is my this time's Thanksgiving times goodies. I might be able to go there again during Christmas time. We had a lovely chat. She was very, very helpful again, finding all the things, and we got her like running everywhere, and that was before the holidays. So I was happy to provide her with some extra income to celebrate her Thanksgiving for those few hours that she was open on that day, and I was glad that I could get some things in person. And that what I got at her store, Black Cat Stitchery. So even I didn't get a lot of stitching here, we had a lovely time, and though it was a little colder, it was not raining or snowed, even though it was very, very cold up there in Wisconsin. We got chance to see Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade because my kids middle school's music band teacher was picked one of those, I think it's total 400 band teachers throughout the whole country to represent all those teachers, and they played on Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and we were like glued to the big TV there to try to find her, but they all were dressed the same and they held their instruments in front of them. So I don't think we were able to recognize her in that big crowd, but we were very happy that she was one of the hand-selected teachers to represent the Macy's parade. And one of the local high schools also were marching there, and it's always a very big honor to do that, so we watched them too, even though my kids go to a neighborhood high school, but we supported all the locals, so we had a fun time with that. And then then our dog apparently got hurt his like a foot, or I would say like not armpit, but the area like a shoulder blade on the front paw. So we spent like Saturday morning, I took him to vet ER that drove like half hour away, and they did some x-rays, checking it out, and provided painkillers. Doesn't seem like anything was broken. It's just like it was painful to the touch. He was limping and whining, so I did not get much sleep night before or following a day when we just got back home, and I was lifting him in and out of the car when needed. So my arms are sore because he's like 58 pounds. Doggy, my baby. So seems like he's doing much better now. So I was very happy when we got home. We drove straight. Like it took me a good 5 hours to drive back home, and we're finally home. So I was able to unload it all, and I finally will be able to stitch more, hopefully, and do all kinds of laundry and cooking back for all of us versus just like two of us, me and my daughter. So Thanksgiving is over. It's time to start get ready for Christmas. We did some online shopping. I know all the guys went on Black Friday late afternoon in a local mall there, and it was still like a zoo, but they got some amazing stuff, like some shirts they were looking there were no their sizes on the hangers, but in totally different spot. They were put several of the shorts, and it's exactly what they were looking for in the sizes. So it's like somebody knew they're coming and pulled out of hangers and just put it in that weird place, but they found it and they got it. So it was like very strange thing to happen. But we did some online shopping because we don't like to go out in the crowds. Definitely. So I think it all went well as the whole weekend, but we're all happy to finally be home and start to relax. So we'll see what I pulled out next to stitch. And I finally finished Mr. Delicious and decided I'm gonna take a break from stitching Mrs. Delicious, so we'll see when I decide to start her. But this whole thing gave me about 1,679 stitches total. That includes the back stitching and my initials that I put it in there. And let's see a little bit closer. So this oatmeal color seemed like it's all the same, but when I looked at some areas up close, there were some darkened parts, and I don't think it was from my hands. And there's two different colors that go in the border on the top and the bottom, and I think my changes in the threads worked well on Mr. Delicious. It's a turkey body in here. Then pineapple, I've decided to stitch kind of in the areas, like even in here I didn't go like a whole thing like a row. I was doing each X individually. So like I was going at the angles. For example, I was going like zigzagging part way and then coming back zigzagging the rest of the stuff, and that's how I got this color variation. The bird does not look like it had the black colors, a lot of variation in here, but it has some. And for you, somehow it's still showing a bit darker than what I see live on instead of a camera. And those were the hardest things to stitch in here, individual ones. That was with just DMC thread in here to make it all brighter. And actually in here, when I stitched the whole thing and I was going put in this last one, I'm noticing that I kind of did not skip one X in here, so I had to find a way, because I was doing with two different threads, to undo frog this area and then restitch it properly again. So that took me a bit of time, unravel it carefully and finish it correctly, because you go like a V and then one skip and again you go like a V like that. So that I finished up, and you see all of that. Those look like a light post kind of thing, but of course it's not. I like how the green color variation is in here, and the same color was used of course in the frame. So it's not a lot of different colors. I guess I could have used a little bit brighter for turkeys, like a neck and I don't know what to call that hanging thing, but very happy that I finished it. And then 23, and we'll see when I'll go with the next lady, his lady. And actually after I finished this, I grabbed my nutcracker ornament from a magazine that I wanted to do, and I just finished this one. So let's look at this closer. In total, this piece actually is like a double amount of stitches than Mr. Delicious. So with initials, like you can see, I did the opposite year here and my name in here, because when it's gonna round up, it's the number's gonna be behind my initials. So if you're doing round pieces like that, when you're gonna connect, remember that little tip, that if you want to have it your initials and then the year after that, that when you connect it, the year is gonna be like somewhere here. And this one, by my calculations, was 4,559 stitches total. and that includes all of that back stitching, which is was quite a bit comparatively, because it took me a while to figure out from a markings which thread use where, like a little bit in here and then a different color there, lines up, and then some in here, some threads were used to some places it was not marked how many, so I decided to just pick one thread, and I think that was enough. So all the dark ones are not one color, it's two different colors. And this looks like the golden thread was like a stitch each individual, but it was only done on the outside and not the inside part. And all those little things in here, each line was done on his like a shiny shoulder pads, and in here lined up. And the sword, actually this was supposed to be lined up in here, but I don't think it's much difference because it's about the same distance in here, so that's not too bad. So then I'll have to find, I think it's like a felt when I make it a roll, sew it up, and then it will need like a big bead to attach it and to hang it if I want to do exactly how it was done in the magazine. But I'm glad I managed to finish it, and perhaps I'll be able to FFO it before this Christmas or New Year. At least one of those. Might be my goal. Of course, a little bit darker red and black shows a little bit, even though this is 16 count fabric. And all this white was stitched too, it was not left. So it's like a full coverage piece with some quite a bit of a back stitching done, everything outlined. But I'm so happy that I got to finish these two within a couple days in here, and couple more things are checked off on my finishing list. And since it's the end of the month, just what, 3 days left, almost 3 days, like always I try to put some stitches in my you can say the biggest by the stitch count project so far is Girl Ghost free pattern from Anayake, and I'm stitching this on a 25 count Luca S Goblin fabric without the big markings, and I'm hoping that would be ideally good to make 3,000 stitches or half stitches, petite stitches for this piece. So what you see, let's see if in case you can't remember this piece, I've done a row and then decided to go the full size of the frame and slowly fill in. So here we see this strand of hair floating, this one, and slowly going in here, the darkened ones, you can kind of see this hair, and it's a lot of grayish and light burgundy, I guess, or brownish colors. So it's not a lot of fun happening so far, but it also needs to be done. So in this area it's going to be a lot of hair starting in there. So I don't know where exactly I'm gonna do, since I just pick a thread and go until thread practically finishes, or I can't find it in the area, then I finish the area and move to the next. So this is where I'm gonna start, and I guess I'll come back to you once I have more stitches put in this piece. And I think I got a very good amount of stitching done, just over 4,800 stitches, so that's a petite point or half stitches. So you see majority of work was done in this area. So all that dark hair, I thought at first, why is it such a blue color? But when you look up close, you can kind of see those blue colors and like a navy colors popping out in here. So I went all the way down there because that's where specific color like finished up, kind of had to push against the frame a little bit to fabric to get it all done. But just this worked, and a little bit filled in like in this area for a background, because it was just one color, something I could add quickly. But there were a lot of scattered stitches in here, and as you can see, I kind of went with the flow, like some of the thread colors ended in here and was going again like this way, so I just kind of went with that, or until I finished up the thread that I had on my needle, and then I went again and pick up the next thread and just kept filling in. So as you see, it's starting to fill in more of the dark here, and I bet there's going to be a lot of different singles in there, confetti, and the background will be filled in much faster, because I don't think it's going to change much from what we've seen in the past. But this is more than I bargained for this month, and I'm very happy. It's still a lot to go, and we'll see how much I can do in December, but that was all at the end of November. And since I had to go to the YMCA for my daughter's practice, and I hurt my knee a little bit, it's feeling better, but I couldn't run or walk, so I brought my lady the portrait of a lady and put like 92 stitches, because I also was working on making for my wedding biscornu the names I found in a book. I can actually show you from this book, 500 Alphabets in Cross Stitch by Julie Hassler. I'm not gonna do this book review because it's all just the patterns, and there were a lot of like a big patterns, big sizes. So I wanted to do sort of like a back stitching, just outlining, and there were only a couple pages of that. So I just chose from those and wrote down on my graph paper that I bought, like a picked a letter and went with that. So I managed to do that. I just need to now start stitching. So that's going to be ready for hopefully December. But that was all I've done with the stitching in November. And I can't remember if I already talked about my visit trip to Sign of the Arrow in St. Louis, Missouri. Their store that has like a needle point stuff in there, like a threads, a fabric, needle paint, like a painted canvases in there, and all kinds of other goodies that you can get as a gift. So I might do just a separate quick short video with a few pictures on a separate video to show what kind of things you can see. Especially it's great to support them since they all about the charities and supporting local charities, so that was good. And another thing, recently my daughter with her girl club, which I think I've mentioned before that she's in, that helps empower girls and become more like sure of themselves and leaders. So they were doing like a toy drive in their middle and elementary schools. So now one day this week they took a trip to St. Louis Cardinals to drop off all those collected toys, and they got meet like a local cardinal dog that sniffs all the bags and boxes. I think that dog is like 11 years old. And they got hot cocoa, and they got all those little gifts like a Build-A-Bear workshops, little doggy, and like a cardinals not the posters, but like a canvas things. So you can probably see in the picture, I'll put a couple of pictures in here. So she had a fun time. I don't know if they took a group picture with, because the baseball season is over, so mostly just collecting from different schools, I guess, or whatever the girl groups are. So they had a fun little trip during school time in there. So I think I'm gonna finish November part in here, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching video. All those progress that I've done for all the pieces, I actually worked on a 13 turns out, because of my portrait of a lady was number 13, even if it's tiny bit stitches. I was very happy to do some finishes, and I hope December will be productive, not probably not in stitches but in FFOing, because I'm getting just got like urge to do organizing, cleaning up, and try to put FFO'd quite a few pieces. So you'll see that, I guess, in the next video. and I hope you'll enjoy watching that too. So I think that's it, and I'll be waiting for comments. I'm still behind writing in black, just reading it, because as you see, I put a lot of time in the stitching and filming of different things like book reviews and whatnot. So holidays coming up, lots of birthdays coming up, and have to prepare for all of that. Shopping, cleaning, and events. So hope you're all healthy, and sending you peace, love, and until the next time, this was Jurgita saying bye-bye.